All right, thank you very much. I know today's theme is connections. And so you're probably wondering, what does an economics teacher know about connecting and connecting with people? Well, I hope in the next 10 minutes, give or take, I can convince you that markets are in fact connectors that bring people together and coordinate activity. So, what is a market? We need to start there. I usually teach my students, markets are institutions that bring buyers and sellers together. So you could be thinking about the public market in Rochester. You'd be thinking about the stock market in New York or Chicago. You'd be thinking about your local grocery store or online through Amazon or eBay. All of these are institutions that bring people together, and by doing that, they connect people. To start with, as a first example, I'm going to bring you, I almost forgot, the middlemen. We see the commercials, right, that we should cut out the middleman because all they do is raise the price, right? Go direct, save money, go straight to the source. Well, maybe that's true sometimes. We should cut out the middleman and save some money, but I also think middlemen are an important part of that connection to get the things we want to us. So for that, I think about the mystery of the bananas. And I have to credit my colleague Mark Shue, who's a great econ teacher who proposes that we use mysteries to motivate people to learn. So here's the mystery of the bananas. When you go to the grocery store, your local store, and you walk into the produce section, there's almost always a beautiful section of bananas. At the peak level of ripeness, they're not too brown, they're not too green, a day or two, and they're perfect. You never go in and find the produce manager singing, right? Yes, we have no bananas. They always have bananas. The bananas are there. So how did they get there? Because you know they didn't come from around the corner, right? The bananas, in fact, grow in tropical regions. A lot of them in Central and South America, some in Western Africa, also a few places in Asia, right, where they grow the bananas. But that is just the beginning, right? Because when actually, there's one more. To grow the bananas, I got some last week that came from Costa Rica. Right? So wherever your bananas come from, they're grown on a tree. The tree is actually perennial. That apparently, as I understand it, takes about 9 to 12 months from the time you plant the tree in some area that you prepared until you can actually harvest the green bananas. People work to prop up the trees if the fruit becomes too heavy. They often put polypropylene bags on to protect them from insects and other would-be assailants, birds to the bananas. At the right time, they are harvested. They are hauled to the packing house. At the packing house, they are inspected and sorted and prepared for the next step, or where they go on to the banana boat. There really are banana boats. This one actually took bananas from Central America to Europe. Apparently 6 to 12 days on the banana boat in temperature-controlled, climate-controlled, well-ventilated packing boxes that make sure the bananas arrive to the destination port in exactly the right condition. From there, they go to ripening rooms. There are special areas where they actually ripen the bananas for the next step to get them just right before they are distributed through additional people and channels, end up in your grocery stores and restaurants and corner stores so that you have the optimal bananas at just the right time. I've actually noticed on the street and on the roads around Rochester trucks that say Syracuse banana. So I did a little research. Found they're based in Syracuse. 23 refrigerated trucks they supply. They have their own ripening rooms for bananas and tomatoes, and they supply restaurants, mostly in institutions, with produce and other goods. So you can go straight to the source if you want to. I'm going to stick with buying my bananas at Wegmans, right, and relying on all the middlemen and all the other people who have had their hand, who have connected and had their hand in bringing the bananas to me. Another example that we might talk about here. For this, point you to the pencil, right? The simple yellow wooden number 2 pencil. In 1958, a guy named Leonard Reed, who started a great foundation for economic education, wrote an essay called I Pencil. And he basically, through it, creates an autobiography of the pencil. I actually have a few notes here to make sure I don't mess up these locations in order. But this simple wooden pencil, one of the more simple things that we would seem to use from day to day, actually starts with cedar that comes from Northern California or from Oregon. Sticking my push pin there. It goes down a little farther down the coast in California to San Leandro to be mill, right, where the logs actually get cut up into wood that's then used to make the pencils. The lead in the middle of our lead pencil is not lead at all. It's a mixture of graphite and clay that comes, so the graphite from Sri Lanka and the clay from Mississippi. And the whole process that they used to create that also uses ammonium hydroxide, sulfonated tallow, and involves baking it in an oven. It gets extruded and baked in an oven at 1850 degrees. So I didn't look up all of these parts because there's so many more parts of the pencil, but if you want to look those up, you can add the push pins later. We'll put those in the map too. Then to protect the graphite inside of the wooden casing, it actually gets dipped in wax to provide a little layer of protection in there. It's more of a wax cocktail that includes, among the kinds of wax, candela wax from northern Mexico. Then the ferrule. The ferrule is this little metal part on the top. Traditionally, it's been made out of brass. This one is made out of something else, I believe. But brass is made from zinc and copper. The zinc might be mined in Canada or Australia or in the U.S. or other places. The copper, a lot of copper comes from Chile, so I'll put a pin in Chile. Now the eraser, the pink plug on the end. Another important part of the pencil for those of us who make errors occasionally. The pink plug actually includes many materials. The rubber tree comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo. The seed oil from Indonesia, and some pumice from Italy, among other things that goes into the plug. And then that yellow color that we know and love on our pencils, right? That comes from several coats of lacquer that include castor oil from India. The writing on here, on the side, this is written with carbon black, which is basically fancy soot. I worked on a case once that involved carbon black. So you take oil and you burn it with natural gas in such a way that you create black soot, and it's a very specific grade. It goes into tires and plastics and inks, and it goes into the writing on the side of your pencil. This actually could be made lots of places in the world. Texas would be one place that they manufacture a lot of carbon black. So those are some of the pieces that come together to make this pencil. Now, this pencil, according to the site, it was made in the USA. Many pencils are. They also make them other places. They make some very fine pencils, as I understand, in Germany, so I stuck a pencil in there. Now, so far, we've just covered the materials in the pencil itself. Nothing that's, we haven't even touched all of the other equipment that is used in harvesting those materials and creating the pencil. So, the chainsaw, and the goggles, and the protective gear for the logger, the excavating equipment that you use to get the ore and the other important parts out of the ground, the trucks for the logs, the trucks for the ore, the trains that carry things. So all of those equipment, all of those pieces, you can make a long, long list, right, of other things that must all come together. So one of the insights, in fact, really the key insight from that 1958 essay, iPencil, it's to the point, how many people, in fact, know how to make a pencil? Any thoughts? Does anyone here know how to make a pencil? I described the process, but I couldn't make one. Think of all those pieces. What Leonard Read says is that no one, there's not a single person in the world that knows how to make a pencil. Not even the president of the pencil company, not the person on the shop floor. Everybody does their part, but everybody's connected, right, through the raw materials, through the finished products, through that process, to other people, countless thousands and millions of people around the world to come together to make this pencil. That's the pencil. Now, think about your computer, or your smartphone, or your car, and how it's just a wee bit more complex than this pencil, and how many people are involved at the different stages in preparing the materials and bringing it together. And notice, is any one person or committee or agency in charge of making sure we have pencils, or bananas, or computers? It's actually the beauty of the price mechanism in the market that coordinates the activity of countless people around the world to bring all of those resources together. And personally, I'm thankful that we don't have to depend on an agency to make sure I have bananas or pencils, but the coordination, right, and the cooperation and the connection that is created through people operating through the market and the price mechanism. So the next time you sit down with your pencil, or you eat some bananas, or you use just about anything else, you can think about that connection of those people around the world that made it possible. Thank you very much.